What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is
Cam.
You are on TWA Motorsports, and today, just like the title says, guys, we are going to do a little teardown on the 5.3 that I bought as a replacement for the motor in the Suburban. So that Suburban motor is toast, and here's the deal. We need to strip this down, and could we put it in like this? Absolutely. Is that my style? Not at all. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a DOD delete. I'm going to walk you guys through the process. It's not going to be in this video, but what I'd like to do is get this one stripped down to where we're dealing with more of a long block as opposed, you know, obviously we got a lot of accessories and whatnot, but I want to get this stuff all off and kind of set to the side. I've got a box here for our bolts. I'm going to be tagging and bagging them as we take them off. So I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through the procedure, or at least the way I do things. And the whole goal today is to get it stripped down as much as possible. I don't know if we're going to go internal in this video, but for sure we need to get all the accessories, the intake, the wiring harness, all that stuff out of the way, or at least that's what I want to get accomplished today. So let's get started. I'm going to put you guys on the tripod, kind of discuss things as I'm doing it, and well, you'll get to see what we get into as we go. I'm gonna kind of start, you know, the guy that I bought this from, I know the guy, he's a reputable guy, so I know the engine's good. He actually took a video of it running, which he did that before I bought it. Just kind of wrapped everything up in the middle. Guys, look, we don't need the ECU or any of that stuff, so we'll probably be taking it off. But what I would like to do is get all the wiring out of the way first. At least get this stuff kind of folded out of the way for now. And I'm not going to chop this harness, but I do not want it in my way, if that makes sense. This was a 6L80 is what the transmission was. I don't remember if it was a 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive, but what we're going to kind of work on is getting everything unplugged, just working our way through the harness. That's kind of the way I like to start. There's a lot of safety plugs on, like, well, for instance, like all your injectors, they have these safety plugs on them, so we're going to have to, you know, take some of that stuff off. Like our throttle body here there's a lot of safety clips to keep things in place. So I'm gonna go grab a flat blade screwdriver. That'll help me with taking, you know, some of this stuff loose as far as the harness goes. Looks like we're gonna need a 10mm up top here to get the intake, the harness out of the intake. But like I said, we're just gonna kind of work our way through it here. Now, as far as this stuff, I'm gonna take the 10mm out, but then I'm going to put them right back into place so we don't necessarily have to label that stuff. Like this had to be out of the way in order to get that off there, and we're going to put them in there loosely. Should have got the intake cover. I didn't even think about that. But I guess there's one on the Yukons or the Suburban, so it doesn't matter. And then, guys, for these clips, I won't show you every little detail here, but there's these little, like the coil pack, for instance, there's always like these safety clips to keep things plugged in while you're going down the road. And then on these, look at that. That loom is just falling apart. But on the injectors, there's a green safety clip, and I probably should use a pick, actually. But if you slide those up, once you slide that clip up, you can pinch them and unplug it. It's as simple as that. And you just got to work your way through. I'm going to go ahead and do both sides real quick. A lot of people overthink this and try to pull that clip out. Literally, once you slide it up, guys, it's as simple as just pinching the little clip here and it unplugs. So let me go through and knock all these out, and then we'll move on. Next thing we'll get is the safety on the throttle body here. this little clip, and we can pinch it, pull it out of the way, and then we got a big section of wire out of the way already. This goes down to, looks like there's a ground in this one on the front of the head we'll have to take off. I guess that's a 15 millimeter right there. But you can see we've all the way to the back at this point of the harness. Once we get that 15 loose on the front where that ground's at, that'll release the power or the ground that went to like the battery cable, and this whole harness will have it to the other side at that point. Since we're on this side, we might as well go ahead and take the plug wires off, throw them away. I'm not going to be reusing them. I don't know how old they are. They look to be factory. Chances are, holy cow, they're on there. A bunch of metal. All right. So now, like I said, we've got this loose to the other side. Just kind of undo it, and then we'll move. Looks like we have a 10 millimeter here on the back. Get this cover off. I think that's the only thing holding it other than the, yeah, it is. Other than the brake booster, which should pull through. I think I'm gonna have to undo that. Got a couple safety clips in the oil sending unit and cam position, I think, or crank position. I don't know which one that is on these. I gotta find my flat blade screwdriver and we'll pop this clip out next. There's that. I'm gonna go ahead and just take this loose here. So we got it out of the way. Well, I said that. There we go. Well, that's out of the way. And then we're getting real close to having the harness off. Got a couple plugs here. Need to get the alternator unplugged up here. I didn't think it had a clip in it, but maybe it does. And that's it. Oh wait, the head on the other side here. Looks like we've got some of the harness that goes underneath. Need to unplug some stuff on. Oh, the knock sensor's in the side of the block. Another ground down here. Okay, maybe we're not as close as I thought. Getting there. Now we'll just go underneath and unplug. There's just a, looks like another 15 millimeter for a ground on the side of the block, and then just the knock sensors, which are just you just unplug those. We'll go ahead and get these off too. And I guess a guy could go ahead and undo the 10 millimeters and get the coil packs off. Decided to take the coil packs off. And like I said, I'm labeling all this stuff as I take it off. So the coil packs, because I'm going to be pulling this off, I don't want to thread those back in. We'll take that off. And I'm probably, guys, going to clean this stuff off camera, get it all nice and clean, so we're dealing with nice stuff when we're going back together. Do the same thing over here. This is to keep the coolant line out of the way. go ahead and take dipstick out, and this is just temporarily. I say I am. It's been in there a minute. Well, I was gonna take that out so I could get, yeah, we'll get it out of there. I was gonna say I'm gonna take this out so I can get the manifolds off, but holy cow. It does not want to come out of there, guys. I have to use a pry bar against it or something. Pretty snug. Still working on that dipstick. I'm going to cut these off though, because we don't need those in place. I'm going to replace the belts and go back together. Now, I had a couple bolts to bolt it to the cherry picker. We can get the alternator off. Those should be 15s. We'll set it aside. And I'm really dreading, I hate taking this stuff off because it's going to make a mess, but we got to get it off there. Once that's loose, maybe we can get it out of the way. I think we're going to need a pry bar for that. Generally the case on these. There we go. We're having fun now. Check out that spill after I took the rest of the harness off along the bottom. All right, let's see if we can get the intake loose. These are 8mm. I'll probably bring the vacuum over before I take this off completely, and then I need to take a line loose that goes back here to the EVAP. Just lifts off. You want to double check, make sure you got everything loose, and I do. I'm going to lift that off, obviously with the injector rail in place all at the same time, but before I do, guys, I am going to run the vacuum along those areas just to keep, you know, a huge bunch of debris from falling in there. Let's see if we can get this thing off here. Oh, gross. Uh-oh. Something fell in. All right, you can see kind of what we got going on here. Now we can vacuum this junk out. I'm still really struggling with getting that dipstick tube out, but got that vacuumed off. How many of these do you think are gonna break when I take them out? I'm gonna take this manifold off. I may try to sneak that one around the dipstick tube. We already got one broke off. It's a common issue with these things. I think we'll break a couple more off. No, not that one. I'm getting a little luckier. All right. That one ain't happening. I think we're actually spinning on this is what I think is happening. All right, we're gonna go break out the big dog. That's just the 1/4-inch drive. I'm tossing these, by the way. By the way, if you're wondering, these are 13s. All right. Probably not gonna keep these either. see if we can get, see this one right here? There's still a piece of it sticking out. Let's see if we can get a pair of vice grips and get it the rest of the way. Now look, a lot of times if they're broke off flush, you can weld a nut to the end, and just the heat of welding mixed with the nut to actually unscrew it, you can get them loose. But if you're lucky, sometimes you can clamp that ain't working. I have to go this way. I'm just rounding it off. Well, I'm gonna have these heads milled just to ensure that we've got a nice even surface. So the guy who's doing that can get this out if I can't. Oh, I've got it loose now. All right. I could have heated it, and that probably would have helped, but got it without doing that. So now that one's good. Check it out. I was able to sneak it off. I'm gonna have to work. I'm telling you guys, that thing's on there. Well, good news, I broke the dipstick tube off. Oh well. We're gonna have to punch that through when we get the oil pan off, that's for sure. I know we're kind of all over the place, but let me go ahead and take the plugs out. I took the starter off, by the way. I didn't show you guys that. 213s, it was actually already loose. And I'm just going to toss these plugs. We're not going to be reusing those, of course. I'll do this on both sides. What I may do before we get into taking the actual heads off, guys, is I know I told you I was threading a bunch of this stuff back into the block. Well, when I take the heads to the machine shop, they're going to want them bare. So I'm going to take like the plug out of this side, the coolant temp sensor, all the grounds, like there may be a ground on the front or the back. I want to take those off. Basically giving them a clean slate to work with. So I'm going to tag and bag all that stuff. Go ahead and get it off there as well. Now let's take the AC unit off here. Should have 15 millimeters. Obviously, as you get to the bottom one, make sure you're holding it. Probably pretty heavy. That's not bad. Try to keep it facing up. My plan is to use the one that's in the truck and not use this one. And if you keep this stuff together, you don't have to label it, but probably not a terrible idea. I don't necessarily need to take this off. I just want as much access as possible. Now, in order to move this whole assembly, we're going to start back here in the back, get this out of the side of the block. That should get our power steering loose. And then we can go to the front and get all the 15s out that hold the rest of it. Same situation here, guys. It's probably going to be pretty heavy when you get this last one out. I probably should have taken the oil out of this thing before I started this project, but I didn't. We got the oil cooler line just leaking like crazy up front here. Let's see if we can get it out. Yep. There's some more oil for it to leak. I'm gonna set these outside, I think. I know this is gonna make a mess too, but you gotta get this water pump off here. It's gonna make a mess. There's gonna be water. There's gonna be coolant. Here it comes. Yeah, not as much as I thought. Now let's get this coolant crossover. Probably put some new gaskets in that when we go back together. That one's stuck in the head. These are just the singles that you push in, like the seals. Oh, we're getting there. I'm gonna go ahead off camera and knock the stuff like the coolant temp sensor out of the head. Like I said, the plug on the other side. And then I think we can move on to maybe getting our harmonic bouncer off. I also noticed this is an active fuel management or variable valve timing. We know it has active fuel management, but it also has variable valve timing. If you see this guy right here, that is what that means. We will be ditching that is for sure, which means we're gonna have to get a new front cover, which is fine. We're gonna have to do that anyway when we put the cam in. Now, in order to bust the harmonic balancer loose, we're gonna have to lock this flywheel down. Dadgummit, there's not a flywheel on it. Okay, what do you think the odds that we can bust it loose with the impact? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens if we just hit it with the impact. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll just come out. I don't think I'm that lucky. We may have to put the flywheel back on, or the flex plate, in order to get that sucker off there, but we'll see here real quick. Let's put a 24 on it, give it the beans. Nope. I didn't think I was that lucky. Now we're... Whew. Nope, not good. We're gonna have to put the flywheel or a flex plate back on. Well, I put 3 bolts in the flywheel. Luckily with this new engine stand, you're able to get the flywheel in there. All right, I think we got it. Yep. Now we can yank it out with the impact. Grab our harmonic balancer puller. Perfect. Get the bouncer out of the way. Now there's a certain one of these that fits LS pulleys best, and I think it's this one. This is one for a actually for a Chrysler, but it just hooks really well on these balancers, it seems like. At least it always has for me. So we're gonna get it started. Maybe. See if we can get this thing off here. I generally do this by hand too, so you could probably do it with an impact. I just never have any luck doing it that way. There's little spots for this to set it on the back. There we go. Now, let's see if we can get it out of there. Starting to tighten this thing up by hand, see what happens. It's coming off there. go. It's gonna fall off here in just a second. There we go. It's off there. At this point, I'm gonna kind of clean up some stuff around it and sweep up my mess, get all my junk out of the way. And then guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and let the oil drain overnight. See if we can get all that junk out of there. We'll come back in the next day, continue the teardown. I've actually let this drain for a couple nights now, and we're still probably gonna have some in there, but I need to take the heads off, obviously, but I really want to take this apart, guys. I've never taken apart an active fuel management truck. I've taken apart DOD vehicles, which is all contained here, but this active fuel management, you know, it has this when it has this extra little pigtail here and this. I don't know, we're gonna see. I don't know. I'm gonna take the front cover off and we'll just see what's involved. These are 10 millimeters. I may have to take that off too. I'm not really sure. We'll see. And you remember, you have two that come up from the bottom. We're gonna upgrade the oil pump while we're in here. I'd sure hate for it to fail because I cheaped out and didn't want to put an oil pump on it, you know? All right, let's go grab a pry bar. I'm not 100% sure if I may have to take that deal off in the front that you guys are seeing to make this happen. Ooh, that's on there. Can't find a spot to pry against here. Generally, they're not that snug. I tell you what, let's do. Let's just go ahead and take these out. I may have to taken that out first. Look, it doesn't matter if we tear this up because this isn't going back in. Holy cow. Look at that. Now I'm gonna save the bolts for the perimeter, even though we're gonna have to order a new timing cover. We'll have to order one just because, like I said, we're doing the DOD delete. Or not DOD delete, but the active fuel management delete. That means we'll have to buy another one. But I'm gonna have to find a spot that I can pry. There it is. Oh, how interesting. All right, let's take this guy out. Holy cow, I didn't think I threaded in that much. Man, yeah. All right, well, it's gross. Which, look, I assumed it would be. Timing chain's not broken. The tensioner's not broken, which is kind of impressive because they're generally laying in the pan somewhere. But yeah, nice. All right, now that my curiosity has been fulfilled here, we're gonna move on to the heads. We're gonna need, I believe, an 8 millimeter to get the valve covers off, and we'll go from there. Get the 8 millimeters out. That's been on there a minute too, huh? There we go. We'll be replacing, a lot of this stuff we'll replace, you know, like you can see the gasket stayed on the head. We will for sure be replacing that. Inside this head though looks really good, guys. It's very clean. Let's go over here and look, see how clean it is. It's a good sign. I mean, it's pretty dirty in there in the center, but that's okay. Let's pop the other valve cover off too. Let's see if we can take this guy out. It's a 24 millimeter. Boy, that is so odd. What a dumb design. once we get that off, this should, I was gonna say it should pull off. It did. Such a weird design. It's intriguing to me to pull this stuff apart. I want to just pull this out of the way. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get the rockers out. Now, some people don't like doing it this way. They want to turn the motor over and relieve pressure, and that probably is a better way to do it. This isn't strong enough to do it anyway. We're gonna have to switch over. Those are 8mm. We're gonna have to switch over to something else. I probably shouldn't have taken that off first. I was intrigued with looking at it. Anyway, let's get these off. Like I said, it's gonna take an 8mm, but it's gonna take a little bit stronger of an 8mm than what we've got going on here. See if we can pull them out. Now guys, I have never, don't do this method. Roll the motor over, do it correctly. I've never pulled a thread out. That's the, people say you'll pull a thread out if you do it this way. I've never done that. That doesn't mean do it my way. Doesn't mean that at all. Probably should do it the way others have done it. I don't necessarily think we will need new push rods. These look incredibly good. We'll just have to see. I think we can reuse the stock push rods. We're not trying to, I'm not putting like a ginormous cam in this thing. I am gonna put an aftermarket cam in it, but mainly to delete the DOD and just to give us just a little bit more additional lift. I am also though gonna take these heads to my machine shop and have them reworked. Let's knock this other side out real quick. Next thing we're gonna work on are the heads. I'm gonna take these small guys out first. I know there's a ton of junk. That one we're gonna have to clean around. I don't know if my impact's strong enough to get the next round out, but we'll see. Oh, there's a big caked up mess in the middle. And we will not be reusing these, so you can toss these. Now, I got those out. For the next cylinder head bolts, guys, you may need a magnet to help get them out once you get them loose. I don't even know if, like I said, this will be strong enough to get them out. It may be. They should be 15mm. We're gonna start on the outside and work our way in. Only got one loose. I didn't like them. It's getting them. Interesting, those aren't as tight. I think my gun's getting hot. Switch off that extension. So a couple of them are giving me fits, that's fine. Well, you notice we're leaking some coolant, it's a good sign. So this is what I was saying you needed the magnet for. It just makes life a little easier. So let me get these other three. The impact, I think the juice is running out of my battery. Let's get those out. All right, I threaded one back in the top because they were getting a little loose, but all of them are out except this one. Sometimes they want to fall off on you. I don't think it's going to, but man, it sure sucks. Okay, gonna have some coolant here. And guys, if your dowels didn't come with your head, which mine did, so we don't have an issue. This motor looks pretty good. We're gonna have to do a lot of cleaning here, but yeah, we'll clean all this up. All right, we need to knock that other one out. I'm gonna have to move my stuff around so I don't get everything wet behind it with the coolant. But let's get this other one off camera. Probably should have done this first too, but we're gonna take the valley cover off next. 13s. Not very tight. All that dirt I'm knocking in there. That's why I'm saying I should have taken it off first. Need these well, I'm pretty sure we'll need these 13s. I don't know if the new, because we're gonna have a new one of these as well. I don't remember if it comes with new bolts. I think it comes in a kit with new bolts and new gaskets, but if it doesn't, then it's always a good idea to keep them. Let's give it a, well, thought maybe I could get it off there. We have to take our oil sending unit out first. I don't remember. Oh, shoot. Help if I got all the bolts out, guys. There's a sneaky one right here. You can tell I haven't done a lot of 4th gen motors based off of my no expertise on this. Very, very similar, but a little different too. We didn't have this on a 4th gen, or on a 3rd gen. I know you guys are hearing a lot of rain again. It's crazy right now. We're gonna use a 10 millimeter. We're gonna get our nasty lifters out. The whole reason for this whole debacle. Just two 10 millimeters on each side. And these pieces of crap right here are the whole reason for this whole deal. I don't even know if I can get, and that one's, holy cow, I can't even get it out of there. There we go. See that? That's what causes problems. All the lifters out. Junk. All right, we need a T45 plus to get this out. And then we're gonna yank that cam out, or we're sure gonna try. I don't have anything to grab that because it's a single bolt cam, but we do need a T45 plus, and I like to do this by hand. Most people probably take the oil pump and oil pan out of the way. I'm not ready to do that yet. So let's go get that and see if we can get it out. Let's see why I like to do this by hand. It's hammering rain, guys. Well, we got that plate off, and hopefully you guys can hear me. We're going to see if we can slide this cam out. That's a good sign that it moves. It's not locked on one of the cam bearings. Try to be a little easier than I am, I guess. Thought I was doing pretty good job of being level. All right, our old cam is out. We will not be using this. This will be going in the scrap pile. All right, now that the cam's out, let's go ahead and see if we can get the oil pan off. Should have a series of 10 millimeters all the way around the perimeter of the pan. I'm gonna keep these as well. We'll be reusing them. Okay, there's some in the back of the pan. Don't forget those. I'm gonna have to get a shorter tin for those. And then obviously guys, your pan may fall off, so make sure you kind of keep a hold of it as you're taking it, all the bolts out. This thing we're gonna take off is the bottom of the oil pump, the pickup tube to the pan, or to the pump, followed by the pump. Need to pull the pickup tube out of the pump down here and then sneak the pump off. Guys, this right here, we're gonna be replacing the pump, but right here is where you have issues sometimes with that pinching or not working correctly. And then the last thing I'm gonna take off is the tensioner. Just two 10 millimeters for that. All right. We are down to the cleanup point on this turd. So guys, sorry about the rain. Guy in a metal shop, it's crazy when it's raining hard, but it's the next day. We've got the engine, we got all the oil pump off, we got everything out of the way. I've got it covered up and bagged just to keep moisture out of it for the time being. I did go ahead and take my heads to the machine shop. I also took the oil pan because they have a machine they can put it in and clean it. Guys, it would take me hours to clean that thing with dish soap out in the driveway. So it's just way easier. Now, as far as the heads, all they're doing, guys, is they're gonna put, I had a set of LS3 valve springs off a like 5,000 mile car. They're gonna swap the LS3 valve springs on it, put new valve seats in, or not valve seats, but valve seals. Probably do a valve job. Make sure they're nice and flush and true so we can put them back on and not have any issues, and they'll all be clean when they come back. So I did go ahead and take those out to the machine shop. If you guys are wondering how much that cost, you know, just depending on your area, probably $200–300 will get that done. And it just makes sense. This isn't a super low miles motor. And I just want to make sure that they're, like I said, nice and flush when we put them back on. But you can see I've got parts stacked everywhere. Some of this stuff we'll be using, some of it we won't. Like as far as the valley cover, since we're swapping to we're getting rid of the displacement on demand. We threw the lifters away. We're not gonna be using that valley cover, so I'll be tossing that as well. I'm gonna put a new oil pump, new timing chain, new timing gear, new front cover. So a lot of this stuff in the course of the cam, we're not gonna be using that stuff. And you can see all the stuff stacked up, guys. So anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy this teardown video. I wanted to tear it all down in one video. In the next video on this thing, we're gonna start cleaning up the block. So we wanna make sure everything's nice and flush and true. So we're gonna clean the deck surface off. We're gonna clean off the top of the pistons, get all that old carbon off there. We probably scrub on the side of the block a little bit, try to make things look a little nicer. And I don't know if we'll get to any reassembly in the next video. It may just be a lot of cleaning because there is a lot that goes on. We need to clean all the bolt holes out, wear the head bolts down, because guys, when you pull that head off, there's some junk that falls down in there as far as like coolant. We need to get all that out. Otherwise the new bolt will not cinch down and tighten the way it's supposed to. So I'm gonna go through that process in the next video, but hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said, sorry again for the noise with the rain, but I wanted to get this tore down and get a good jump on it. Basically, I wanna have this engine completely assembled before we go messing with pulling the other one out, which is gonna be that's gonna be a chore. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed, guys, go down there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, like always, ring the bell notification. That notifies you every single time we drop a new video. And stay tuned to see us get this motor back together.